Okay, so I want to thank you all for being here for Reggie Brooks. We've got a wonderful person here that's deep in my heart. Reggie, thank you so much for showing up. Let's give Reggie a big hand. I really, really appreciate you being here today.
Well, Dan, I appreciate you from, wow, how long have I been a Tesla owner now?
Exactly. I told the story.
Did you tell the story?
A little bit of it. I didn't get into the
Yeah.
total details, but I was quite
He
proud.
got me, man, he got me. And when we talked, I had an Audi. And I said, well, it's high performance Audi, you got to get rid of a car if it's high performance and it's going out of warranty. So he says, why don't you buy a Tesla? And remember what I said, what's a Tesla?
I was like, okay, you're going to love this story.
Well,
Thank you.
30 days later, I have a Tesla in my garage and I've had one ever since.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was one of the best decisions that I ever made. And even the great Al Lowry. You guys know that name, Al Lowry?
Oh, yeah.
Some of you know. Raise your hands if you know Al. Yeah, some of you do. Al Lowry is one of the greatest minds in real estate. He is 91 years old. Believe it or not. I bet you didn't know that, Linda.
Wow.
He's 91 years old, and he is so super sharp, mind-wise. And those of you that don't know who he is, it was about 50 years ago he started real estate investment education in the hotel rooms. He and his partner, Bill Nickerson. I think it was Bill. So they would sell their course and then they come back to the same city and no one had done anything. So he says, we can't do this. So every month we're going to get together. You guys get together in a hotel room. I've rented the room. Show up. We're going to see what you've been doing and we're going to teach you what to do next. That was the birth of real estate investment education in the hotel rooms. Dr. Albert Lowry is the one that started it. And I'm so fortunate because I'm a good friend, business partner, and he's also my coach. So I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Anyway, I travel all over the country now, and I'm able to teach people all over the country how to improve their lives financially with a unique niche in the marketplace. You see, we all get sick and tired of chasing a good deal, but we don't stop to realize that money does not, money chases good deals. Good deals do not chase money. Money chases good deals. There's an abundance of money out there now. And so as a result of us expanding the course and teaching it all over the country, $30,000 flips in your own backyard, people from all over the country are sending us letters and emails and telephone calls we're getting from people whose lives are changing because of what we're teaching them with this unique niche. And so I expect to share that with you this afternoon. Raise your hands if you've heard me speak before. Well, Dan, I know you and Maria and Michelle and Linda. You guys are my audience.
I heard you on video.
Oh, did you? Well, so we're going to talk about some ways to generate an additional income, an additional stream of income. I went from making $36,000 a year to making over $42,000 a month. So in this afternoon, what I'm going to share with you is some of the deals that our students have done. And within an hour and a half or so, you're going to see how we go from zero to over $14,000 a month in your own business. And we do it very easily. So I hate to announce this, but those of you that have to leave early, you might miss out a little bit. But that's okay.
I'll watch the video.
All right, so does this sound good? $14,000 a month income in your own business. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, some of the profits that we talk about are going to be substantial, and there's a lot of reasons for it. The nature of a vacant property, the mindset of a person who walks away from it. You see, the nature of an abandoned property, vacant property, is no longer creating an income for that owner, but what it is creating is a headache for that owner because the neighbors are complaining. Building and safety drives down the street and they see that it does not conform to their housing standards, so they send them a letter. Beautiful letter. It's called a notice of order to comply. It has a seal on it. So when a motivated seller having one of these types of properties gets that letter, his idea is that, oh my God, the feds are after me, I got to do something with that property. Wonderful to work with motivated sellers like that. The neighbors in the neighborhood, they're getting upset about it because it's bringing their property values down, so they're contacting and saying, you gotta fix that property up. So they're getting all kinds of motivation from all over the country, from all over the place. There's another thing that happens when I go out and I do a seminar, and people after the seminar will approach me and say, yeah, I understand about vacant properties, just like a foreclosure, right? And I have to say, no, it's not. See, with a foreclosure, you may have had a family living in that property for 10, 12, 15 years. And because they've been there for so long, they have an emotional attachment to that property. So you walk up and you knock on the door and offer them an idea that can get them out of the foreclosure situation, put a little money in your pocket. You know what they want to do? They want to squeeze every drop of equity that they possibly can out of that foreclosure because of the emotional attachment. However, with a vacant, distressed, abandoned property, there is no emotional attachment. What there is a headache. The insurance company, after learning that this property is uninhabitable, nobody lives in it, they send a letter to that owner saying, you better fix this property up. Get someone in here within 30 days or we're going to cancel the insurance. You know, we did some research. We found that in America, even after our downturn, we still have from 30 to 40% of all properties in America are held free and clear. Can you imagine a person has a free and clear property, it's vacant, it's overgrown, and now the insurance company has canceled the insurance on that property. That person usually does not have the money to fix that property up, even though it may be free and clear. And so they're not as sophisticated as you. They know that they have to do something. And so we, with our areas of expertise, with our mindset of going in, helping a person with this kind of a problem, we're paid extremely handsomely. And I'll share some of that with you. So they say it's just like a foreclosure. No, it's not. It's not just like a foreclosure. And so when people approach me and they say, well, I'd like to get started with this, well, I'll ask them, have you ever contacted a realtor? Ask that realtor to help you to sell a piece of property that you need to sell. And if it's a vacant, distressed property, what usually happens, they'll contact that realtor, and the realtor gets that phone call and they get excited because a listing just fell in their lap. So they jump in their car, break every speed limit in the city, get over that listing. And when they get there, the jaw drops because they see, well, my goodness, some work's going to have to be done on this property. So they have to approach the owner. Then, Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, I can't list this property in the condition that it's in. You're going to have to spend some money, fix the property up. And when you do, give me a call back. And at that time, I'll come and I'll list it and I'll sell it and your headache will be over. How many think that's a problem for Mr. Johnson, the person that owns that property? Because he does not have the money to fix the property up. So another 30 days rolls around and another mortgage has to be paid. So what you're going to find this afternoon is that with these properties, with this strategy, they lend themselves extremely well to high profits and also to owner financing. And we'll talk about both of those. How many of you ever done an owner finance deal? Owner financing? Just a few of you. Okay. Well, that is an area that when we're talking about vacant, distressed, abandoned properties, guess what? Lenders don't like to lend on them. So does that open it very wide for potentially owner financing? The answer is yes, absolutely yes. So we'll talk about those. Before I go any further, just a real quick bio on myself. I was born and raised right here in Los Angeles, and I was raised by a single mom. She did a good job, but she needed help. I was 17 years old, and I decided I'm going to help my mom by doing the most dumb thing, one of the dumbest things I ever did. Dropped out of high school in the 11th grade, 17 years old. And the purpose was to go out and get a job to help mom with the household expenses. And I got a whole bunch of jobs, dead-end jobs. I worked as a service station attendant, a welder, a machinist, a mechanic. And, you know, I didn't care how hard the work was. That didn't matter. What mattered was that after that pay period went, I would have a paycheck to bring home to help mom with the household finances. And then I got a break. I got a very lucky break right in Los Angeles, California. I got a job at the local phone company. And the reason I say it's a break was because I kind of got in under the radar. I didn't tell them that I hadn't graduated from high school. And I was not talking. They were not going to hear that from me. So I stayed on that job for 18 years. Worked myself up to making $3,000 a month. Whoopee, huh? Just wasn't enough. Barely enough to make it. I couldn't pay my bills. I had a car that was breaking down on me every other day, making my job, putting my job in jeopardy. I needed help. I was ready for a change in my financial life. How many of you, by show of hands, are ready for a change in your financial life? Please put your hands up. That's where it starts, acknowledging that you're ready for a change. I have to tell you something, though, being ready for a change is not enough. You have to be committed to a change. How many of you are committed to a change? There you go. That's what changes things. Would you like to hear how my change came about? Okay. I came home one evening, turned on the TV. This infomercial pops out. You guys have seen him, I can tell by your laughter. But this infomercial, it sounded like that guy was talking directly to me. It sounded like he said, Reggie, sit down and shut up. For the next hour, I'm going to teach you how to change your life. I obeyed. Wasn't even an hour. But I sat there and I've learned things about money I had never learned before. I didn't know these things existed. How to make more of it and how to make my money work hard for me. That was the most important thing. I was tired of working hard for my money. I needed to learn how to make my money work hard for me. And that's exactly what I did. You guys on in the same boat? Yep. We want to make our money work super hard. And that's what I did with this particular strategy, going after vacant, distressed, abandoned properties. Everybody else is chasing foreclosures. Everybody else is trying to get into probates. Oh, they had REOs, people knocking on the doors of banks saying, hey, you got any properties in there? And they know that they had. Just last week, they took a bunch of them back in foreclosure. But what happens? You go up there and knock on the door. You got any foreclosures in there? And they say, nope. You know why? Because they know that you don't know what you're talking about. They don't have foreclosures. The foreclosure period stopped a long time ago. What they have now are non-performing assets. So they look at you as, oh, you just went to a seminar. You learned a couple of words. But no, not the Reggie Brooks seminar. You notice I said a seminar. I didn't say my seminar. And so what their thoughts are is, you don't know what you're doing. You're not a professional. In order for you to even come up on maybe thinking about seriously doing a deal, I've got to teach you everything. It's much easier for them to say no. And so that's exactly what happens. No. So we went from making $36,000 a year at the phone company to making over $42,000 a month in my real estate business. And I thought, well, that's enough income, monthly income. Now let's work on lump sum. And so we did that next. That was very exciting. All of it was very exciting. So one of the things that I learned is in order to get started and get started on the fast track, the easiest thing you can do is to let everybody you know that you are now a real estate investor. Let them know what you're doing. If they don't know, they can't tell you about good deals. And so I did that. I let everyone I know that I invest in real estate. I got a call from my cousin Greg one time. And I tell you what, I love my cousin Greg. Cousin Greg calls me and says, hey, Reg, I hear through the grapevine you're investing in real estate. You ought to come over to my neighborhood. There's something over there that might interest you. And like you realtors, I jumped in my car, broke every speed limit in the city. And when I got there, my jaw didn't drop because I know I'm looking for distressed property owned by motivated sellers. Isn't that how we make our money? Yeah. I get over there and I saw this property. It looked pretty rough. There it is. 417 South May Avenue. This was one of the very first. And so I'm looking at this property and I see signs that cause me to salivate. Because I know I'm going to make money on this. So look at that. The grass is overgrown. Some of it needs to be reseeded. All the shrubs were overgrown. Every window in the house is broken out. The door is hanging off one hinge. My kind of property. You guys ever seen those kind of properties before? Yeah. Have you made money with those kinds of properties before? How come Dan is the only one other than me? Well, Maria by default. Yeah. But there's such a wealth out there in this unique little niche that most people don't know anything about. Seasoned investors do, and we're making money. My kids are making money too. But anyway, let's continue on. So we turned that property into this one. Now, this was one of our early ones. The total cost of $241. We sold it for $304 and made a profit of $63,000. Is that pretty good profit?
Yeah.
You know, it could have been more. I didn't know about a thing called comps. You guys ever heard of that? Comps? Comparable sales? Sure wish you told me. You know, my mentor, my coach, Al, he asked me, where'd you get the price? Where'd you get the figure on that property to sell it? I said, oh, no. I felt so dumb. I felt like dumb as a pile of rocks. And so he told me what to do. I made a mistake. I didn't know the compare. If I had known comps, I would have sold it for $40,000 more. I left $40,000 on the table. $41,000 on the table I left. That was my tuition. I never had to pay that tuition again. As a matter of fact, it paid off huge dividends, me learning that one thing. So this light bulb goes on over my head. And I'm thinking, that wasn't a bad deal. Took 2 months, and I made $63,000. Now, I'm working at the phone company 12 months, and I made $36,000, almost half. But not only that, Uncle Sam has his hand out all the time, it seems like. I got to give him about 1/3 of everything I make. But with this deal, I did the deal relatively short time, and I made $63,000, and IRS will allow me to keep the money in my pocket. Did you guys know that? Through real estate investing, my expenses, I can write them all off, and I have expenses. I always have expenses.
Successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, all that gas I got to buy. Michelle and I got off the freeway, and I made a left turn, and I saw a service station over there that said gasoline, $4.99. Yeah, anyway, let's change the subject. Yeah, so now I got an idea, because we make our money buying distressed property from motivated sellers. This property, you saw a picture of it, was in distress. The seller, take my word for it, he was highly motivated, but it lacked the one element that every other strategy had. You know what it was? Competition. It lacked the competition, and today it still lacks competition. Everybody knows about foreclosures and probates, and people are trying to get into the shadow market, don't even understand what it is. They heard a thing called the hidden market, and they're going asking their realtors, got any hidden market? You know what they tell you? Nope. So I know I'm on a unique strategy here, and I know that I'm going to become a millionaire doing this. I didn't know how quickly it would happen. I didn't know that my 2 kids would become millionaires also doing the same thing. I didn't know that I was going to go all across the country and even into Canada and even into Mexico once, teaching other people how they can become millionaires with this strategy as well. I didn't know those things. I know them now, and I'm excited. So it's a unique niche in the marketplace, because you get some of the greatest don't want their properties. People don't want them anymore. They walk away from them. So they're usually vacant. I did a lot of evictions in my career. I don't want to do that again. I really like the idea of a property that's already vacant. Don't have to fight. They can be anything. They can be single-family residences. They can be townhomes, condos, apartment buildings, commercial buildings. Anything that's no longer wanted by its owner and no longer producing an income for that owner. Owner's walked away from it. He has divorced himself from it. There's no longer an emotional attachment to that house. When you're dealing with someone who no longer has an emotional attachment, guess what? They are married to their pain. And when you come along with a little idea that can detach them from their pain, they give you lots and lots of money, because they're no longer attached to the emotional part of that. They're attached to the pain. You are the hero. You're looking at the world's biggest, blackest, bald-headed, two-legged aspirin. And that's what I do. I solve headaches. And I'm paid so handsomely for it. Wouldn't you like to be paid very, very handsomely by solving people's problems? That's what you do as an investor. That's exactly what you do. The owner's getting a lot of pressure. And I talked about that earlier, the fact that Building and Safety, Department of Public Works, they're out there and they're sending letters, notice of order to comply. They'll take them to court. They'll tell them, you're going to fix it up or we're going to knock it down and create a vacant lot and then we're going to bill you. And that owner is feeling the pressure. Wow. So some of the things that we do, we go to the courthouse and we seek those owners out. And we make offers and we get property. And we do it a lot. Very little competition with this unique strategy. As I mentioned, everybody else is trying to do some level of foreclosure. Very few people are actually making a business out of going after these kinds of properties. And you're going to see how many there are. Raise your hands if you've seen any of these kinds of properties before. Everybody's seen them. Everybody's seen them. 8723 South Bering Cross, Los Angeles, California. This was a nice little property. The grass would be overgrown, but it's dead. It can't grow anymore. Sides of the house look like Ray Charles is out there stuck in there. That was cruel, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, come on, Ray. All right. The door. Doors boarded up, windows are boarded up. This is a classic sign. This property will yield you lots and lots and lots and lots of money. They're in all kinds of different neighborhoods. They're in all kinds of shapes. For instance, look at this one. By the overgrowth and vegetation, you can tell this has been abandoned for a while. Can't you tell that? Someone walks away from it, does not even want to hear about this property unless you're removing the headache. Can anybody here see that this is actually a 5-unit apartment building? Can't you tell? You would love to own this property right now. Let me show you what one of our students did with this. On this property, there was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit that rented for $1,500. There were 3 2+1s at $1,100 apiece, and there was a 1+1 at $800. Total income was $5,600 a month. This was an owner finance deal. Our student got a moratorium on payments, meaning that he did not have to make a payment for several months. When he did make a payment, the payment was around $1,100 a month. $1,100 a month, yes. So therefore, he's got a nice little $4,500 a month income, and this is on one property. Would you guys like to do something like that? No? Yeah. Shall I move on?
Why not?
Would you guys like to do more of these types of properties? Yeah. Can you see where you can do 2 or 3 of these kinds of deals and change the complexion of your income forever? Forever, I'm talking. That's a long time. I figured that out. I'm close to forever in age. All right. USA Today. USA Today says, and Wall Street Journal did the same thing too. I didn't bring that one. I brought USA Today. Say that abandoned homes are opportunities everywhere. It says people with a vision of transforming these buildings and returning them to the housing stock of America. And in doing so, they're putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in their pockets. Wouldn't you like to put hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pockets? Yeah. My son, I'm going to show a little something that he does in rehab. This kid, the student has become the teacher, and the teacher has become the student. I'm listening when he comes home with a check of $394,000. I'm listening to him. I am now his student. Well, I say come home. He has his own home. He's coming to mine. But that's what we're doing, guys. And that's an anomaly. $394,000, don't expect to make that. Part of that was what he brought into the deal, and then he closed it. He made over $100,000 on that one deal. Okay, so we're talking about vacant property opportunities. This is what I did when I first started. I knew that I had a great little niche that I could work, but now I got to flesh it out. So I started driving the streets, looking for signs of abandonment, looking for opportunity. I call it driving for dollars. Now, once I would find a property that looked like a good candidate, jot the address down. Now I'm going to go back to my office in my home and I'm going to process that information. Here's processing. I want to know who the owner of record is. What's the mailing address? Give me the number of bedrooms, number of baths. Square footage is important. Lot size is equally important. The zoning, we can do a lot with zoning. Change some zoning. You make millions of dollars just changing zoning and going and following up. But the one thing that I did not have before, got them now, comparable sales. This is the one tool that every single one of you as an investor has to have. Because it's going to teach you how much your property is worth before you buy it, and then how much it's worth after you fix it up. That way you get a gauge on how much profit you're going to make in between. And I'm not talking about Zillow comparables or Redfin comparables. I'm talking about your own account with your title company, the source of all comparables, to get an accurate figure, not a guesstimate. How many of you have access to accurate comparable sales? Just a few of you. Yeah, the rest of you need that as a tool. And so in my course, $30,000 Clips in Your Own Backyard, I give you all the tools you need, including access to the best comparable sales. And you get it free. So if you're paying for it right now, you should not be paying for it. I teach you how to get that absolutely free. And so in doing that, all of these things, we build ourselves a wonderful money machine that will take care of us for the rest of our lives. I'm 70 years old now, and going into the latter stages of my life, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing because my machine is built. And now Michelle and I get to do what we want when we want. So Dan calls a little while ago and says, "Hey, Rich, how would you like to come to Santa Barbara?" "Yeah, I'd like to come when?" So and it's just a wonderful thing. But you have to put the work in. You have to put the work in. And if you will put the work in, the results are tremendous. Tremendous. Dan's head is going up and down. He cannot help himself. Not that he doesn't have anything there to keep it stable. He's got a lot of it. But he knows of what we're talking about. And he knows that that's how he can call his own shots. He and his lovely Maria. They can call their own shots. Isn't that why we work hard? That's what I thought. All right, what else do we have here? You know, when I first started, I started thinking now, I don't want to be like everybody else doing everything. You know, you're just in a line and you're traveling. The person in front of you is the best that you'll be able to see because that's your view right there. I want better than that. So I decided there's got to be different ways to flesh out other opportunities using this unique niche of vacant properties. And so I went to a seminar once. Ron LeGrand is a very good friend of mine, and he was teaching about running ads in the newspapers. And I was so glad he taught me that because that was the thing that I need to stay away from. And Ron taught me that. Ron has a lot of students, and I'm one of his students as well. You know, we've done things together. But you know, when we're talking about a unique niche, we have to custom certain things. Because running an ad might not be the best thing for you working this unique niche. Like for instance, you got a $400 advertising budget. You want to run that ad, and the ad might say, "I can buy your distressed property, I can buy it in its present condition, I can close in 15 days. Call Reggie." And then you got your phone number there, right? And so when you run that, before we go further, guys, you know you don't put "call Reggie" in that ad, right? You put your name in the ad, your phone number, okay? You'd be surprised at what people do all over the country. But you run that ad. Now, what are the chances of in the next couple of weeks someone calling you with a deal that you can make yourself $60,000 to $100,000 in? What are the chances that happens? Some people say no chance. I'll say slim chance. I always hold out hope. But I'm going to go in another direction. You want to see the direction I'm going in? I want to show you where to go. Instead of running an ad in a newspaper that's going to have you handcuffed to a phone that'll never ring, let's do something smarter. Let's do this. Let's get ourselves a couple of friends or relatives, depending on how close you are with your relatives. Might not want to work with them. But a couple of friends or relatives. Now, in your course, $30,000 Clips in Your Own Backyard, you got every form in there that you're absolutely going to need to make you rich. One of those forms is a rehab analysis form. So I want you to make a lot of copies of it and give that to the two people that you're going to work with, friends or relatives. Let them know about vacant, distressed properties. Show them what they look like. Let them know when you see one, I want you to jump out and take a look, and I want you to fill out the form for me, and it'll tell me what needs to be done to the house. I want you to take a picture of the property also. Everyone has a camera in their cell phone. Take a picture of the front, take a picture of the back, but do not trespass. Don't break any laws. Don't endanger yourself. I want you to go out to the middle of the street, take a picture this way, take a picture this way. That way I get to see what the neighborhood looks like. If every other property is vacant, I don't think I want to invest there. So now we can get that. And we also have them talk to the neighbors while you're over there, knock on the door to the neighbor to the left, neighbor to the right. Don't forget about the neighbors across the street. And ask them about that owner of that property. And so I'm going to send them. I got two people. I'm sending one in this direction, one in that direction. And then